Not surprised foreigners are doing this, especially Canadians, Americans, all these people. I'm not surprised because there's no other option. If you're going to be an influencer in China, that's what you do now. The Chinese government has dumped so much money into this campaign to make China look good and to promote the Chinese government that you're not going to have people on the fence that are going out there and filming very neutral content anymore because it's not allowed. There is no room for nuance anymore. There's no room for saying, hey, this is what needs to be taken care of, but this is what's great. Now this is what's great, and this is why it's better than the West.
The YouTuber revealed the truth. The CCP is brainwashing the whole world. How terrifying is that? Let's take a look at an interesting vox pop in China.
Do you know which country has occupied the most territory in Chinese history?
Britain.
Why do you think it was Britain?
Because it occupied Hong Kong, Taiwan, and a lot of Chinese territories that I can't recall. Japan.
Why do you think it was Japan?
Because they invaded us for the longest time. Japan, I guess.
Why do you think it was Japan?
Just a feeling. Is it Japan?
Why do you think it was Japan?
Because I've only seen these war stories. They're often broadcasted.
Qing Dynasty. After all, it unified the 6 states. Since I'm not very knowledgeable about history, I think it was the Qing Dynasty that unified the 6 states, so its territory must have been large.
Did this lady travel through time? Seeing these answers, we can't help but doubt the history lessons of these young Chinese people. Were they taught by physical education teachers? Why are they so ignorant of their own country's basic historical knowledge? This is the power of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP's long-term propaganda and brainwashing, capable of distorting people's understanding of historical truths, and of course, distorting one's understanding of the present and the world. Domestically, the CCP certainly tightens control over public opinion, reaping great benefits over the years, making the CCP's rule seem unbreakable. But the CCP's ambitions do not stop there. Internationally, the CCP also seeks to transplant this control of public opinion across the globe. They firmly believe, quote, whoever controls the narrative controls the world. In China led by the CCP, counterfeit goods, high-quality luxury knockoffs, and black technology, such as fake beef, fake crab butter from Chinese mitten crab, and fake egg yolks for mooncakes are so common that almost nothing can't be faked. These have gradually become known to the world. Even if you have doubts about the news content you see about China, suspecting it comes from CCP fabrication, the reality may far exceed your imagination to the point where the entire media could be a creation of the CCP. Is this yet another shock to your understanding of the CCP's propaganda? In early February this year, the Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto released a report revealing an astonishing insider story. Over 100 websites are posing as local news media around the world, operated by the same Chinese PR company, serving as content factories to spread pro-CCP content. This incident has once again made the CCP's external propaganda a topic of discussion. External propaganda is a hot term in recent years, referring to the CCP's use of various means of foreign propaganda, intending to control media discourse and international public opinion. External propaganda strives to create a drastically different world, even opposite to the real world, a parallel world where the will of the Communist Party becomes a mandatory belief with its own set of twisted logic, daring to distort, alter, or even fabricate facts. External propaganda began as early as 1999 and has been infiltrating globally for over 20 years in various guises in ways that are extremely difficult to detect. They manipulate media directions and even mislead people into taking lies for truths, thereby influencing people's cognition and attempting to affect countries' public opinion, governance, and elections. The CCP can be described as scheming and malicious. The CCP's external propaganda system started creating knockoff fake foreign websites as early as 2020. Because such activities are clandestine, it wasn't until August 2022 that they were first exposed by the American cybersecurity company Mandiant. Last October and November, Italy's Il Foglio and the Korean National Cybersecurity Center, NCSC, reported separately, and this year, after a detailed report was published by Canada's Citizen Lab and reported by Reuters, these incidents became widely known. These fake websites have similar web page formats, typically copying local mainstream media news without providing news source links, and the reports on China fully echo the CCP's statements. When it comes to attacking figures opposed by the CCP, such articles are quickly deleted for fear of censorship. The NCSC report mentioned that the fake websites targeting South Korea have several characteristics: unregistered, posing as members of the Korean Digital News Association, and lacking media company addresses, contact information, and corporate names on their websites. The site names and domain names are similar to real media companies. For example, a fake site posing at the Chungcheong Times, ctimes.org, is nearly identical to the real one, ctimes.kr. These characteristics also apply to other countries, like the Roma Journal, which looks entirely like an Italian news media, reporting local news and claiming to be a well-known Italian news website, but less noticeable press release section on the homepage reveals a series of articles from CCP official media. Surprisingly, knockoff fake websites have spread across Asia, Europe, and America. South Korea has 17 fake websites, while Japan and Russia each have 15, followed by 11 in the UK, 10 in France, 7 in Brazil, 6 in Turkey and Italy, and 5 in Spain. Il Foglio reported that the 6 fake sites in Italy have the same IP address located in Frankfurt, Germany, provided by the Chinese company Tencent. These are all related to a Chinese company, Shenzhen Haimai Yunxiang Media. Chichacha information shows us that Haimai Yunxiang Media was established in October 2019 with its registered address in Shenzhen, China, and a registered capital of only 300,000 RMB. The company's official website states that it mainly focuses on global media communication, overseas network promotion, with media distribution that can cover 5 continents around the world, reaching over 10,000 media websites. Against the backdrop of the CCP's expansive external propaganda, key years include 2009, when the external propaganda campaign officially began, and 2019, when it encountered strong resistance in democratic countries. The CCP became more proactive with its external propaganda after the 2008 financial crisis. With the Western world in turmoil, the CCP authorities were excited, seeing it as a golden opportunity to promote the so-called CCP model. In 2009, the CCP officially launched its massive external propaganda campaign with an investment of 45 billion yuan. This comes from Microsoft's 2023 report on the global distribution of Chinese language media involved in external propaganda. The 1989 Tiananmen Square democracy movement, which received widespread support from overseas Chinese, was suppressed by the CCP regime. The authorities first targeted overseas Chinese language media for acquisition and infiltration, resulting in the majority being bought out. Those media outlets that first began to loudly praise China's economy received significant economic benefits from the CCP, such as advertising placements. They felt that as long as they praised China, their media's survival would greatly improve, leading to a gradual loss of vigilance. Initially, Chinese language newspapers in Canada and the United States, even those that were not previously pro-CCP, began to extol the virtues of China's economy, followed by English language media as well. According to Freedom House's 2022 report on the influence of the CCP's external propaganda in various countries, the darker color on the map, the greater the influence. Besides mainland China, which is the darkest and covers the entire country, we can see that many European countries and America have areas that are nearly as dark. In the early 2000s, the CCP invested billions of dollars in its external propaganda efforts, shaping media content and narratives worldwide in various languages. One of their tactics in democratic countries is known as borrowing a boat to go out at sea, which involves buying foreign media companies, maintaining absolute control, owning shares in foreign media, or sharing content with foreign media to indirectly spread the CCP's voice. Currently, the CCP's focus is mainly on Africa, Asia, and Latin America, especially in providing digital TV and internet services in Africa. 2019 was another turning point, with a Hong Kong anti-extradition bill protests occurring that year and the global pandemic outbreak in 2020. the CCP began to significantly increase its activity of spreading false narratives on social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook, mainly smearing Hong Kong protesters and blaming the virus on the United States. The Citizen Lab report includes charts showing the weekly number of political propaganda ads pushed by CCP official media on Facebook from late 2018 to the end of March 2020. We can see a sudden increase in ads during the first 3 months of 2020, accounting for more than half of the total ads over the 15 months. The establishment of these fake foreign websites also coincides around 2020 with the most common targets of attack related to the pandemic. These include attacking virologist Yan Li Meng, who exposed the CCP's release of the COVID-19 virus, or accusing the United States of conducting biological experiments on the local population in Southeast Asian countries. Initially targeting audiences in South Korea and Japan, the focus shifted to European countries in February 2021 and moved to Latin American countries at the beginning of 2023. Currently, at least 123 fake websites have been discovered globally. Today, the CCP's external propaganda includes multilingual official media websites, foreign internet celebrities, digital TV networks, platforms like WeChat, and various deceptive and coercive tactics, forming an extremely complex system. In the mobile internet era, controlling the most widely used social media platforms is paramount, hence the significant efforts on WeChat and TikTok, with a more systematic and sustained dissemination of pro-CCP information. The CCP excels at grassroots work, hence social media, deeply integrated into people's lives, serves as an excellent platform for spreading the CCP's systematic propaganda messages globally. Controlling an entire platform equates to controlling the platform's content moderation mechanisms. For example, the Zoom platform is widely used for online meetings, and the CCP directly issues orders to Zoom's operations in China, given Zoom's significant personnel presence there. Certain content, such as Christian gatherings, Falun Gong meetings, or anti-CCP democratic meetings, cannot be conducted on Zoom. This is how the CCP controls public opinion. The control over media is not just about influencing our perception, but has also become a tool for human rights persecution. Since 1999, the CCP has launched a massive propaganda campaign against Falun Gong practitioners, enveloping the globe in a vast lie and creating a public opinion environment conducive to the CCP's persecution of the people. A common tactic, for example, is to use internet influencers for soft propaganda, glorifying the CCP.
Behind me is a field of pure white cotton. Are you interested in learning about Xinjiang's cotton? Then follow Guli.
Through the promotion of Xinjiang's beautiful landscapes and culture by the Chinese internet celebrity An Guli, there's an attempt to subtly whitewash the CCP. This strategy diverts attention from the harsh realities of the inhumanity, such as the re-education camps in Xinjiang and the oppression and violation of rights of the Uyghur people. The CCP not only utilizes Chinese internet celebrities, but also foreign influencers. At the end of 2023, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute published a report titled Singing from the CCP Song Sheet, The Role of Foreign Influencers in China's Propaganda System. The report, through an analysis of content from major Chinese video streaming platforms like Bilibili, Douyin, and Xigua Video, compiled a list of over 120 active foreign influencers and studied their content. It found that these influencers are reaching an increasingly international audience, with some having tens of millions of followers in China and abroad, especially on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and X. The CCP has been leveraging these foreign KOLs with millions of followers as a unique propaganda asset, aiming to create a unified choir that can promote the party narrative more effectively than traditional Chinese official media. By utilizing the popularity of these foreign influencers, the CCP seeks to neutralize international criticism, propagate its main melody, and enhance its influence both domestically and internationally. However, there's a backlash, and now the CCP's external propaganda may have entered a new phase. This is due to the CCP's dwindling popularity and ineffectiveness of its propaganda. Whether in the West or within China's system, there is now unanimous opposition to Xi Jinping and the CCP. Freedom House, in its Beijing's Global Media Influence 2022, Authoritarian Expansion and the Power of Democratic Resilience report wrote that over the past 3 years, while the CCP has intensified its media influence with emerging strategies, Beijing and Xi Jinping's international reputation in democratic countries has notably declined. Indeed, CCP diplomats, state media agencies, and their agents now face severe obstacles when operating in democratic countries. In addition to the fundamental protections for media freedom found in democratic societies, public awareness of Beijing's actions has grown. Governments, investigative journalists, and engaged members of civil society are now more actively and forcefully uncovering, highlighting, and opposing external propaganda efforts. In 2005, the first Confucius Institute opened at Stockholm University in Sweden, marking the CCP's propaganda platform's debut in Europe. Subsequently, institutions opened worldwide, including in the United States, Russia, and Thailand. However, by December 2019, Sweden closed all 4 of its Confucius Institutes. Today, almost all overseas Confucius Institutes have been shut down, marking a comprehensive failure. Similarly, in 2019, platforms like X, Facebook, and YouTube began banning CCP propaganda accounts or channels, and in August last year, Facebook removed over 7,000 CCP propaganda accounts. Yet social media platforms headquartered in China persist in playing their role in the CCP's external propaganda campaign. For example, during the recent presidential elections in Taiwan, TikTok was filled with videos smearing the Democratic Progressive Party of Taiwan, playing a disgraceful role in attempting to influence the election results. Of course, we all know the outcome. It was unsuccessful. Without the vigilance and resistance of the free world, the consequences could have been unimaginable. Some argue that since the CCP does not allow platforms like X, Facebook, and YouTube into China, why shouldn't the US respond in kind to TikTok and WeChat?
You are here because the American people need the truth about the threat TikTok poses to our national and personal security. We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values for freedom, human rights, and innovation. TikTok has repeatedly chosen the path for more control, more surveillance, and more manipulation. Your platform should be banned.
In March 2023, TikTok CEO Shou Chu, despite his efforts to downplay allegations of ties between himself, ByteDance, and the CCP during a U.S. congressional hearing, often attempted to evade rather than directly answer simple yes or no questions. His performance was deemed unreliable and untrustworthy, much like the CCP itself.
Your technology is literally leading to death.
Yes or no?
I will remind you that making false or misleading statements to Congress is a federal crime.
Today, all data is stored by
no,
default.
it's not that complex.
Do they, yes or no?
On February 19th, the European Commission decided to initiate a formal investigation into TikTok to assess whether it violates the EU Digital Services Act. If found in violation of the DSA rules, TikTok could face fines up to 6% of its global turnover. Yet another major platform for CCP's external propaganda faces substantial repercussions. Freedom House reports that the CCP's actions often undermine the narratives it seeks to promote. Despite the CCP's external propaganda efforts to downplay them, China's internal human rights abuses and aggressive foreign policies remain evident and cannot be disguised. In a survey of 30 countries, public opinion in 23 of them showed a decline in views towards the CCP or the Chinese government. 8 or 9 years ago, many of the West praised the Chinese economy, and dissenting voices were hardly acknowledged. However, there has been a significant reversal, especially after 2019, when the CCP showed its true colors. Following the incident involving Huawei princess Meng Wanzhou, the CCP quickly detained 2 Canadians as hostages. Additionally, the CCP's refusal to cooperate with the WHO's investigation into the origin of the COVID-19 virus, which is widely questioned in the West, has been noticed. Western public opinion has been outraged, limiting the effect of the CCP's external propaganda because the facts are clear. Even those in the West who were previously sympathetic to the CCP now have to distance themselves from China to avoid becoming targets. Under this trend, the CCP's external propaganda is increasingly weakening. Another critical reason is the severe downturn in China's economy, leading to financial constraints. The CCP's overseas infiltration efforts, which mainly involve spending foreign exchange, are now hampered by a significant shortage of foreign reserves. With many areas requiring foreign exchange, the propaganda efforts are not as extensive as before. Previously, the CCP infiltrated Western media largely through advertising and business deals. Now, with the reduced funding, there are naturally fewer advertisements. In the past, private companies would first place ads in the target media and then seek reimbursement from the CCP government. With the current financial constraints, these companies cannot secure funding from the government, making this model unsustainable. As the CCP's finances continue to dry up, the resources and funding for external propaganda will decrease. However, this does not mean that external propaganda will be completely abandoned in the short term. The voices praising the CCP will still exist, especially during crucial periods like elections in major Western countries. The struggle for the high ground of public opinion is a protracted war of perception. Beijing's ultimate goal is to maintain the CCP's control over culture, discourse, and ideology, eliminating the influence of foreign free political speech, and thereby preserving the CCP's legitimacy. A combined cognitive and espionage warfare underpins the CCP's ambition to influence the globe. With the 2024 US presidential election approaching, a significant event that will have a profound impact on the world, the CCP's external propaganda will not miss this crucial period. Let's wait and see what unfolds. It's comforting to note that the Western civilized world has begun to wake up to the CCP's aggressive infiltrations and ever-evolving propaganda schemes in recent years. Although it's a case of closing the barn doors after the horses have bolted, it's better late than never. Addressing and countering the CCP's export of values that clash with civilized norms is a long-term challenge that requires ongoing focus and serious consideration.